Level 1, the speculator. You win your first trade sitting in your car on lunch break. Tesla calls. $180. 11 minutes. You're staring at your phone watching the number go green. You're 23. You work in a warehouse. You don't know what implied volatility is. You don't know what you just did. You clicked some buttons. The line went up. Money appeared. You check the percentage gain 3 times in 30 seconds like it might get bigger if you look at it correctly. You think, I could do this every day. You do the math instantly and incorrectly. You open Google. How to make money day trading. You don't know it yet, but you just type the most expensive sentence of your life. Right now, a guy named Marcus, the whiz of trading, is filming a YouTube video. Lamborghini, chart, pointing. I made 10,000 in one day, my exact strategy. 847,000 subscribers. You'll watch it tonight. You'll buy his course in 3 days. But right now, you're looking at $180 from a car company and thinking you just figured out something most people are too scared to try. You made that in 11 minutes. Your warehouse shift pays it in a day and a half. You're right about one thing. You did just figure something out. You figured out how to lose everything. Level 2, the retail trader. You paid $497 for Marcus's course on WAP. 3 days after you won. 47 videos. Half of them filler about mindset and trusting the process. You practice on a paper trading account. Paper trading makes everyone patient because fake money never makes your hands shake. Up 40% in 2 weeks. You think this is skill. It's not skill. It's a simulator with no emotional cost and a bull market doing most of the work. Real account. You deposit $500. Gone in 8 days. You deposit another $500. Gone in 12. You deposit a third. Gone in 9. 6 weeks. 3 deposits. All gone. You blame slippage, chop, bad fills, market makers, anything that sounds smarter than I have no idea what I'm doing. You replay the trades. You followed the system. The process didn't work, or you didn't understand the process, and you can't tell which one is true. Marcus emails you. Subject line, ready for advanced strategies? $1,997. Limited spots. Testimonials below. Screenshots of green days. Photos of students next to expensive cars. You're already down $1,500. You hesitate. Your girlfriend asks a question from the kitchen. Calm, specific. How much have you spent on this? You give an answer that is technically accurate and structurally misleading. You mention the initial course. You don't mention the 3 deposits. You frame it as an investment in education, which is a phrase you learned from one of Marcus's videos. She knows you're not telling her everything. You both know this. She doesn't push. Her face does something specific. Not anger, something quieter. She goes back to her phone. Later, you notice she's looking at Instagram. Marcus's profile is open on her screen. You see it for half a second before she scrolls. Lamborghini, rooftop pool, Dubai, living the dream. You already follow that account. You scroll past those posts at 2 in the morning when you can't sleep, when you're replaying losing trades, when you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong. It's 2 in the morning now. Work in 5 hours. You open another tab. Marcus's advanced course sales page loads. The testimonials look so real. Level 3, the day trader. You paid $1,997 for the advanced course. Same strategies, just with more indicators. Marcus calls it the system that works every time. Doesn't work. 3 monitors now. Ultra wide. You spend more on the setup than you've made trading. Your neck hurts. Cold pizza at 10:15 in the morning because closing a position matters more than eating properly. You take 14 trades before lunch, following the system exactly. Down $340 by 9:47. The opening bell still feels like possibility at 9:30. By 10, it feels personal. You know what you're supposed to do. Cut losses. Move on. Follow the plan. You revenge trade instead. Need to make it back. Need to prove the system works. Need to prove you're not the problem. Down 890 by close. Journal entry that night. Did I follow the system wrong? You followed it exactly. The system is the problem, or you are, and the difference doesn't matter when the money's gone either way. 3 monitors. Neck pain. I strain. Skipped meals. Your girlfriend notices you check your phone during every conversation. During dinner. During movies. During the specific quiet moments when normal people just exist next to each other without needing to know what SPY is doing. She leaves on a Saturday afternoon. Calm. No fight. No yelling. You've spent $3,000 on this. You check your phone during every conversation. I don't think you're here anymore. She's right. You don't argue. Some part of you knows she's right, and that part is too small to matter against the part that wants to open the app and check if you can make back the $8.90. 2 weeks later, a mutual friend mentions she's seeing someone. Some trader guy, drives a Lambo, posts on Instagram a lot. You know immediately. Marcus's Instagram loads. New post from 3 days ago. Your ex-girlfriend in the passenger seat. Lamborghini. Sunset. Caption. Success is better with the right people. You sit with this for a long moment. Then you reverse image search the license plate. Rental company. Los Angeles. $1,200 per day. The testimonial screenshots in his course. You open them in Photoshop. Clone sections. Mismatched fonts. Numbers that don't align with the platform's actual interface. The students in his videos. You find 3 of them on Fiverr. $15 testimonial videos from Pakistan. You sit with all of this. Down 4,884 total. Girlfriend gone to a scammer's rented lifestyle. You close the app. You open it again. Muscle memory. This time you search something different. Proprietary trading firms. If you're going to learn this, you're going to learn it for real. The bankroll sits at negative $4,884. Level 4, the proprietary trader. You're trading firm capital now, which means someone can actually fire you. Game-changing revelation. Other people's money hits different. There are prop firms that do not care who you are. They care whether you can pass the evaluation, follow the risk rules, and avoid blowing up the account once they fund you. You blow 2 evaluations before you finally get funded. Between eval fees and reset fees, you're already down another $800 before you ever touch a real funded account. You pass on the 3rd attempt. $50,000 funded account. Daily loss limit, $500. First funded month. You come within $50 of that limit 9 different times. No Marcus system. No 7 indicators. Just price action and risk management. The difference is immediate and humbling. You've been trading noise. Tuesday morning, 2nd week, you're up 220 on the session. Clean entry, clean thesis. Then the position reverses. You watch the P&L tick down. 160, 110, 80, 40. Flat. Negative 20. Your hand moves to the keyboard. You know what you're about to do. You're about to double the size and chase it back. You pull your hands off the keyboard. You sit there. The P&L closes at negative 60. You lost $60 and it feels like you won something. Because 3 months ago you would have revenge traded that into negative 400 and blown the daily limit and lost the account and called it bad luck. You didn't. That's the session where something actually changes. First funded month. Down 1,200 net P&L, almost cut. The risk manager pulls you aside. Professional. Direct. 1 more month like this, we're done. You nod. This is not an online community. This is not an online video comment section where everyone's a genius and nobody shows their account. This is a desk, a number, and a binary outcome. Perform or leave. 2nd month. Break even. You learn more in this month than you learned in the previous 6. Position sizing matters more than entry. Cutting losses fast matters more than being right. Boring consistency beats exciting wins every single time. 3rd month. Up 2,400. Keep the account. You still see Marcus's ads on the internet. New 2026 strategy. Same pointing at a chart like it means something. You scroll past without clicking. 6 months in. Account scaled to 100,000. Making 3,200 per month average. More than the warehouse paid. You don't mention this to anyone because the people who need to brag about money are the people who don't have it yet. One evening after a clean session, you calculate something. If you had your own small fund, even 500,000 AUM, 2% monthly return, 1% management fee, 20% performance fee, you close the calculator, but the thought stays. The bankroll sits at positive $5,916. Level 5, the senior proprietary trader. By the end of your first full year as a senior prop trader, profitability stops feeling accidental. Not because you found some secret edge, because the stupid mistakes finally got expensive enough to stop repeating. Account at 600,000 now. 7,100 a month on average. Fewer trades. Better size. Cleaner execution. You think in expectancy now, not excitement. You treat over-trading like alcoholism. 1 relapse and everybody at the firm knows. You've watched 3 traders get cut this year for the same pattern. They couldn't stop. You can, barely, and the difference between barely and not at all is the difference between having an account and not having one. New prop traders arrive every month. One kid, 24, mentions the 7 indicator system during a desk conversation and says Marcus changed his life. You look at him for half a second too long. 3 years ago, that sentence would have sounded like hope. Now it sounds like an obituary written early. You say nothing. He'll figure it out or he won't. You did. Most don't. You made $85,200 this year from prop trading. Saved $47,000. One evening, you open a new tab. Register an LLC. Delaware. $800 filing fee. Company name, Apex Capital Management. The confirmation email arrives. It feels more real than any trade you've ever placed. No clients. No office. No outside track record. Just a company name and the first piece of something bigger. 3 months later, $52,000 saved. You schedule a meeting with the risk manager. Professional. Grateful. You explain you're leaving to start your own operation. He's not surprised. We'd like to offer you a senior role, more capital, profit share. You've earned it. You decline. I appreciate it. I'm starting my own fund. He nods. Doesn't try to convince you. Good luck. You're ready. You hope he's right. You've been ready to trade for 2 years. You've never been ready to run a business, pitch clients, manage capital that isn't yours or the firm's. You've never been ready for the part where you're responsible for someone else's retirement account and they're trusting you because of a track record and a conversation and a belief that you know what you're doing. You hope he's right. The bankroll sits at $52,000. All of it. Every dollar you've saved. The entire stake. Level 6, the emerging fund manager. You're sitting across from your friend's uncle, explaining why he should give you $100,000. His name is Robert, mid-50s, owns 3 car dealerships. Made his money the old way, slowly, and he's not impressed by track records from people under 30. You have a laptop open. Your prop firm stats. 2 years. 14.2% average annual return. He asks the questions that matter. What's your worst drawdown? Negative 6.8% over 6 weeks. Cut positions, reduced size, recovered in 3 months. What happens if you lose 20% of my money? You fire me. I return what's left. I eat the loss to my reputation and never manage money again. He nods. Not warm. Just processing. Fee structure? 1% management annually. 20% of profits above zero. You lose money, I make nothing on performance. Silence. Okay, 100,000. I want monthly statements. Any drawdown over 10%, we talk immediately. You wire his 100,000 to the brokerage account with your 52. Total AUM. 152,000. You have a client. You have a business. You have everything you can lose in one bad month. Marcus used to post screenshots like this part was easy. Capital raised. Freedom. Laptop lifestyle. What he sold was the fantasy of being trusted. He never showed the 3 a.m. math. Never showed you lying in the dark trying to calculate how many red months it would take for Robert to decide you were 29 years old and full of shit. Co-working space. $400 per month. 1 desk. 2 monitors. Not ultra-wide. Just enough. First month, up 3.2%. Robert makes $3,200. You make $723 total in fees. He's happy. Second month, down 1.4%. Small. Barely a rounding error on a real fund's books. But you wake up at 3 in the morning and check European futures and calculate exactly how many more months like this before Robert calls and says the polite version, I want my money back. This is not prop firm drawdown. This is Robert's money. 30 years of selling cars wired to you because you said the right things in the right order and he believed you. You lie in the dark doing math. If next month is also red, you'll have lost Robert's trust in 60 days. If the month after that is red, you'll have lost Robert entirely. And with him, the only proof that anyone outside a prop firm ever believed you could do this. Third month, up 2.8%. The account recovers. Robert doesn't mention the bad month. You'll never forget it. Second quarter, up 4.1%. He refers his business partner. Second client commits $250,000. Ohm now $402,000. Third client comes from the prop firm. Guy you traded next to for 8 months. Calls you 6 months later. I've got $180,000 saved. I want in. Ohm, $582,000. You hire your first analyst. Recent grad. Finance degree from Fordham. Hungry. You offer him a small base, a cut of the performance fees, and the chance to learn from someone who actually trades. First day, he asks a question. Should I take a trading course first? Get up to speed on the basics? You laugh. Actually laugh. First time in months. No, I'll teach you the real way. He doesn't understand why that's funny. You don't explain. Some jokes are only funny if you paid $2,494 to learn why they're funny. 6 months in, you're up 18% across the accounts and $26,000 in fees, plus returns on your own capital. It's not prop firm money, but it's yours. The bankroll sits at $68,000. Level 7, the fund manager. After nearly 2 years running outside capital, you're pitching a family office for $2 million. 3-person investment committee, 90 minutes scheduled. You're 40 minutes in and the questions are getting specific. Your track record shows 18% average annual return over 22 months. 582,000 AUM. That's impressive for a solo operation. We're considering 2 million. That's a different scale. How many traders do you have? 1 analyst. I execute all positions. What's your risk management system? Position limits by sector, daily loss limits, correlation monitoring, basic infrastructure. The word basic hangs in the air. You said it because it's true. They heard it because it's a problem. You don't fill the silence. You learned that at the prop firm. Silence is information. Let them think. They commit. 2 million. Conditions. Monthly reporting, quarterly reviews, 15% drawdown limit triggers immediate conversation. 2 million changes the room immediately. You lease a real office. 4 desks. Bloomberg terminal. Compliance consultant on retainer. The first month the fixed costs hit your account, you understand something simple and ugly. The market is no longer the only thing that can kill you. You hire a second trader. 8 years at a hedge fund that closed. Better than you at execution. More expensive than you're comfortable with. Then a junior trader. Then an operations manager, because firms can die from paperwork just as easily as bad trades. The first time you run payroll during a flat month, you stare at the total for a long moment. Salaries, rent, data. Compliance, insurance. No position is open. Nobody is yelling. Nothing is crashing. And you're still bleeding. That is the month the business becomes real. Q2 2027. Market volatility spikes. Everything correlates to 1. Your hedges work, but not enough. Down 6.8% in 6 weeks. The family office calls. We're concerned about the drawdown. You explain the positioning, the hedges, the thesis. Temporary volatility, not structural breakdown. Calm. Professional. Ready for this call since the day they wired the money. They're polite. Watching closely. Not leaving yet. 1 smaller client redeems. 400,000. Need the capital for other things. Polite. Final. You were right about the thesis. Market recovered. They left at the bottom, locked in the loss. Marcus posts a new video that week. How I predicted the market crash. Exact strategy. Different Lambo. Same pointing thumbnail. 1.1 million subscribers now. You watch 10 seconds of it in the office after the family office call. He is doing what he always did. Filming after the fact. Selling certainty to people who weren't there when it was unclear. Your ex left Marcus that spring after somebody on FinTwit matched one of his live screenshots to a demo account. You close the tab and go back to payroll. That is the whole difference now. He gets to narrate volatility. You have to survive it. You finish the year up 14.2%. The family office stays and adds another million. Owe 9.6 million. Very quickly, this stops feeling like your book at all. The bankroll sits at $890,000. Level 8, the institutional fund manager. You're pitching a pension fund for $15 million. Retirement money for 2,400 teachers. The investment committee is 3 people who've been managing public money longer than you've been alive. They ask about capacity, about risk controls, about what happens when you're wrong. You answer every question. Honest about the risks, because lying to a pension fund is how you end up in front of regulators explaining why teachers can't retire. They commit. 15 million. AUM jumps to 24.6 million. Largest responsibility you've ever carried. You have a thesis on European rates. The ECB has been holding policy tight for 18 months. Inflation is cooling. Growth is slowing. They're going to pivot. Bond yields will compress. Specific names are mispriced. You're 80% certain, which in trading means 20% chance of career death. You build the position. Long European bonds. 6 million notional. 25% of the book. Larger than you've ever sized a single thesis. Large enough to matter. Large enough to hurt. The position bleeds for 6 months. Down 4.2%. Investors are calling. Your team is watching. You're explaining the thesis in morning meetings with the specific calm of someone who's either right or about to be unemployed. The pension fund schedules a call. We need to discuss the drawdown. You explain your positioning, your thesis, your conviction that this is timing, not a broken idea. You've been here before. Smaller scale. Same pressure. They're polite. Concerned. Not leaving yet. Your net worth is $890,000. Most of it is in the fund. If this trade blows up, you don't just lose clients. You lose everything you've built and most of what you've saved. You hold the position. March 2029. ECB pivots. Yields compress exactly the way you said they would. The position makes $3.2 million in 3 weeks. Fund up 11.8% for the quarter. The pension fund calls again. Different tone. We'd like to add another $10 million. Word gets out. Another pension fund follows their lead. $48 million. Team celebration that night. Dinner. Champagne. Everyone's loud and happy and talking about the trade like it was obvious. You're quiet. They think you're being humble. You're not being humble. You're remembering 6 months of waking up at 4 in the morning to check European bond futures. 6 months of explaining to investors why you're still holding. 6 months of your team looking at you like they're not sure if you're a genius or just stubborn. You were right. You were also nearly fired for 6 months. The trade that made your reputation is the one that almost ended it. That's the part they don't put in the marketing materials. Marcus would have posted the last 3 weeks only. The pivot, the payout, the screenshot with the right side of the chart cropped perfectly. He would not have posted the 6 months before that. The investor calls, the morning meetings, your team looking at you like they were deciding whether to trust you or just obey you. That is the difference between selling the trade and living inside it. The bankroll sits at $2.1 million. Level 9, the Global Macro Fund Manager. You're about to short the Japanese yen with $40 million. And for the first time in years, the part that scares you is not being wrong. It's having to explain being wrong to 40 people at once. Conviction on BOJ policy error. Rate differential unsustainable. You manage $120 million now. 40 investors. 15-person team. You're not asking what stock to buy. You're asking which central bank breaks first. You put the trade on. First week, nothing. Second week, the yen strengthens against you and the P&L goes red enough that 2 investors email the same question in different language. Are you still confident in the thesis? By week 3, your team starts offering you hedges you don't want. Smaller versions of the idea. Safer versions. Ways to be less wrong if this turns into a policy standoff that lasts longer than it should. You listen. You keep the core position on. Week 5, BOJ language shifts. Not the decision. Just the language. The kind of change that only matters if you're already buried deep enough in the trade to hear it. Week 6, the yen breaks. 6.8 million in profit in less than 40 trading days. Net worth, 4.2 million. Real money. The kind that changes what's possible. Good house, good wife, good kids. The kind of life that would have sounded fake when you were 23 and staring at Tesla calls in a warehouse parking lot. Marcus is 40 now and dating girls who just graduated. Some people make money and never actually grow up. Industry conference 2 weeks later. Open bar. 200 traders and allocators talking about the same 5 trades everyone's in. Young guy approaches. Mid-20s. Nervous energy he's trying to hide. I'm just starting out. Any advice? You've heard this question 50 times. You give different answers depending on how much you've had to drink and whether you think they'll actually listen. He mentions he took a course. Really helped me understand the basics. You already know. You ask anyway. Which one? Marcus's Complete Trading Blueprint. Have you heard of it? You have? Later that night you check your phone. Marcus's Instagram loads. New post. Different Lambo, probably still rented. 1.2 million followers now. Up from 847,000. New video. I made 50,000 in 1 week, my exact system. Comments full of people who just bought the course. Same excitement you had. Same certainty that this is the beginning of something. You think about posting a warning, explaining the scam, showing the rental receipts, the Photoshop screenshots, the Fiverr actors. You don't. They'll learn the way you learned, or they won't learn at all. You built this. 120 million AUM. 15 careers. Real returns. Not rented Lambos and Photoshop screenshots. Started with $180 on Tesla calls and a YouTube video from a scammer with a rented Lambo. The path from there to here wasn't the one Marcus sold. It was longer. Harder. More expensive. Cost a relationship. 3 years of grinding. 4,884 in losses before the first real win. But it's yours. The young trader is still waiting for advice. Trade smaller than you think you should. Cut losses faster than feels comfortable. Boring consistency beats exciting wins. He nods. Writes it down in his phone. He probably won't follow it. You didn't either, at first. If this one stayed with you, like and subscribe.